Hey guys, Rachel here from Let's Talk Speech Therapy. I'm very excited to talk to you today about my 2014-2015 school year binder. It is hot here in the Midwest today, so it is fun to be talking about something that happens in the fall and a little cooler temperatures. Last year, remember, I had my 2013-2014 binder in Teachers Pay Teachers, and a lot of you grabbed it. I kept mine, as you can see, in a literal 3-ring binder, and the only problem that I had with this is that it was big, and so it wasn't practical, especially when I was traveling between 3 schools. It wasn't practical for me to grab it and to carry it with me or to take it home at night because it was so bulky. I think if I ever did the binder style again, I would do a smaller binder or a thinner binder. I ended up just sticking this on a shelf in one of my offices and only pulling it out when I needed it, which worked fine. But I think slimmer would have been better. Anyways, this year I've gone with a thinner actual spiral bound planner style. I just went to Office Depot and had everything print and laminated and bound and set up, and it was relatively inexpensive. So I figured for a school year's worth of investment that it was a pretty good deal to work out this way. There are some things from last year's binder that I loved and that I couldn't have lived without, and there are some things that I never touched and never ended up using. So now that I have a year as an SLP under my belt, I've gone through and I've revamped my binder into things that I think will be more practical and that hopefully you will find useful as well. So some of the differences, last year there was 1 cover option. This year there are 4. My classroom theme this year, I'm so excited, is chevron. I love chevron. And so in the color version there are 2 chevron backgrounds and there are 2 not chevron backgrounds, in case you're not as obsessed with them as I am. And then in the black and white version there are also 2 chevron. It's just gray and black chevron, and then there are also 2 non-chevron backgrounds. So this is the front. Each of them has an emblem on the front. I customized mine, and so it has my name on it, obviously. But if you go to my Teachers Pay Teachers store, then it will say speech therapist or speech language pathologist. All 4 covers say something a little bit different and have a little bit different chalkboard design on them. So I just had the front and the back printed on cardstock and then laminated for a little more durability, so I can stick it in my bag, so I can carry it in a handful of things, and I don't have to worry about it being fragile or looking like dirt by the first month of school. I actually got this idea from Lauren at Busy Bee Speech. This is how she set up her planner to the cardstock and lamination, so thanks, Lauren. Anyways, inside both the color and the black and white version, everything's set up the same. One's just a little more printer friendly if you're printing from home or you're printing at school, or you don't want to pay the little extra and have things printed in color. But I'm a color lover, so I couldn't do without. The first section is a calendar section, and I just have a page for each month of the year. Each month kind of has its own color, so September is blue, and then October is orange for Halloween, and then it kind of goes from there, but it goes all the way up until July, so you can start looking ahead and planning for next year, planning trips or professional learning experiences or whatever over the summer. You can keep track of all of those in here. And then there's just a month. It's just pretty straightforward. So there's there's a page for every month. And then my favorite feature, which I actually ended up adding to my binder last year on like a scratch piece of paper, is a year at a glance page. There are 6 boxes for each month. It was really handy for when teachers came up to me or I was sitting in a case conference and said, hey, when is Susie's next IEP due? Or when can we have a behavior update for Billy? I could look quick without having to thumb through, oh, let me find, her birth month, or let me find April, or whatever. Instead of having to pull through, it was all right here, ready to go. And I could check quick my calendar without having to thumb through page after page. So I'm really excited about this. I'm glad it's in here, and hopefully it will help keep you a little more sane and a little more organized. So I'm just flipping through the months as we go through July. The next section is a student information section. In here there is a weekly schedule. Looks much like the main schedule page from my last binder, but I made this for a week. I actually have been placed into 1 school next year, which I'm so excited about. I'm downsizing from 3, but my heart still goes out to those traveling speech paths who are doing more than 1 building or doing more than 1 population, and so I put for week of. You can print as many of these as you want. My schedule in one building won't change a whole lot, so I just did one page in my binder. But if you need more than one week of page, you print as many week of pages as you want. And it just kind of goes through your time of your day, and then Monday through Friday. I plan on filling mine out in pencil because we all know that your weekly schedule changes from day to day. The next is a caseload list. Also probably a good idea to fill out in pencil. In my district, there's a lot of carryover. There's a lot of turnaround. Kids transfer in and out. It's real transient. So it basically just goes through the kiddo's name, their grade, and their teacher, their eligibility, whether they're speech only or their ASD with secondary of language, their eligibility area. Oh, I'm sorry, their birthday. It's really hard to read this backwards. Their birthday, their eligibility area, and the day their IEP renews. Also good to kind of coincide with the year at a glance page, but it's just good to kind of see. I need to see that anyway, so that's the caseload list, and I printed off several of those pages because I know I'm walking into a pretty big caseload. And then the next section is your weekly planning. This is also something that I kind of had in the last binder, but I've tweaked. Before, it was just a page. It had the week and the theme, and then the standard at the top. And then there were 4 circles, kind of just more of a preparation page. But I actually ended up, again, making this a separate sheet. So now, this year, it's in my binder of just Monday through Friday, and this will just be notes and activities. I loved doing themes with my kids this year. They were always excited to come into speech and see what theme was next. So things along there. And then that notes planning section is still here. It just doesn't take up the whole page like it did last year. This was more crucial for me to see, especially when I traveled. Okay, Monday I'm doing this, but when I prep to go to my next school tomorrow, I'm going to need to take X, Y, and Z instead of just taking my whole bag full of everything everywhere. So I printed off 44 of those to be safe. We had some crazy weather and some crazy cancellations and things like that last year. And then the last page in the binder, I actually didn't print one off for myself, but the last page is a parent contact information form, and you can just print off one for every student and keep track of your parent communication. The IEP system that my district uses keeps track of that for us, so I keep all of that set in my kiddos' IEP and their computer. But if you don't have that or you need to see it in paper, that is the last section of the planner. You can enter the raffle link below until Sunday, the July, I believe it's until July 6th. Sunday, July 6th, and you can enter to win a free binder. You can choose black or white, and then you can also choose to have your front cover personalized. You can change whatever you want it to say. You can have it, say something different than speech pathologist or things like that. So enter below. Tell all your friends to enter to win a binder. I'm really excited about this. I am actually probably as soon as I'm done here going to go start filling in dates and units and themes and things. I'm so excited that it's done and it's ready to go. And hopefully you will learn to love it too.